Oh, that was nice, wasn't it? Sharks win in overtime. The Islanders have lost 9 straight and have not won in their new barn. We'll get to all of that and more. Let's talk hockey right now on Teal Town After Dark. And with that, we say good evening, Sharks fans and fans all over the world. It is Thursday night, December 2nd, 2021. Sharks are victorious on Long Island as they beat the Islanders 2-1 in overtime. Come on, Butchie, pick my tweet for the overtime challenge. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. This is live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game. So if you want to be a part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. It really does a lot. SoundCloud, Discord, of course, Reddit, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. And with that, good evening. I am Erik Karlsson alongside Mr. Al Martinet.
Hey, Sharks win. Thanks. How are you?
Good. I'll be honest. I am sleep deprived after, rocking out at the Shark Tank for Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but, good stuff. And, and, it was a little boring. Like I see that, I see Bozosaurus saying, snooze fest, but with 2 more points. What game was boring? But hey, we'll take the 2 points if it's boring, right? Am I right, people?
I didn't think it was that boring. I mean, I thought I expected a lot more from the Islanders. I mean, I think Islanders have been one of the disappointments this season. So far, how many games in? We are about 20-something games in. But, still 2 points is 2 points. And their Sharks are making their way pretty good in the Pacific.
Yep. And they're on their way to getting back into the thick of it in the playoff chase. So let's lock and load and get into it. You hope for a good start, Al, and with the Islanders coming in, have lost in a row. They come back from about 10 days out of COVID protocol for their whole team. You would think that they'd be a little rusty. You think, Matthew Barzal, he hasn't done a whole lot. He's only scored 4 goals. And then 64 seconds in, he scores the first shot of the game.
Yeah, like you said, 0-4 to open their new arena. They were one of the last teams to have a home opener. And this was their first lead in their new home arena, which I'm glad everything got situated for those longtime Islanders fans.
No kidding.
That seems like it was a natural fit. But 0-4 at home, and before that 0-4 on the road. They previously had the Flyers and the Rangers postponed, but I was kind of thinking this would be a setup game for the Islanders because, you're away from the team. Maybe you just get back some of that mojo because, they were 1 game away from beating the Lightning last year.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of talent on this team.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back trips into the NHL's Final Four for this team. Yeah. I mean, it's just huge kudos to what they've done. Apparently they really didn't need John Tavares after all.
There's always that.
Oh yeah. So a rough start. Barzal with a nice shot. So to make it 1-0 Islanders. A few minutes later, the Islanders took the penalties the Sharks have been taking a lot lately. The first one, hella dudes on the frozen pond. So,
Yeah.
It is what it is. But the Sharks get that, and the broadcast really was pushing this power play influenced goal
I
from
mean, it was.
from Benino. Oh yeah, he's starting to get a little. He's not going to say hot, but he's starting to get warm, bud.
It was, that call is one of the greatest, but I hate that it's against the Sharks,
Yes.
which is the worst. It's the worst. But, to talk about that goal for a second, I mean, like, it's 1-0. That power play was pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I watched some of the New Jersey game. Can't watch all of them, but
How dare you?
what's I'll just leave. But, it looked like that power play was at least moving around the puck a lot more, and especially tonight, Dahlin had a great assist, just holding on the puck just a little bit longer to get it to Bonino. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had no expectations for Bonino. I had no expectations for Dahlin, and they've been. I mean, Bonino has picked it up, but obviously Bonino was more of a leadership, guy you put on the in center. So, the acquisition has definitely paid off.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing more than other things. I still get excited about that kick save he had in Calgary, because you might be on a struggle. You might be on a struggle, but you're doing other things to help contribute in the game.
Yeah, I mean, not to roll it back a little bit, but this was, of course, Adin Hill's first game since Washington, I believe.
And then,
of course,
he had the
first game
right
starting in net, but like he played against Toronto and was filled in there. But this has been mostly Reimer's net for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Reimer's been on a roll. He'll start tomorrow against the Rangers. For everybody who's asking, so make it 1-1, and then you kind of had back and forth hockey. I thought there was a lot of a lot of back and forth, a lot of nice plays, tough plays, but we should touch on Yona Gadjevich going down. I don't know. I looked on the replay when I gifted on our Twitter at Teal USA. I'm still trying to figure out where it got him. Was it ankle? But somewhere on the left side where there's not a whole lot of padding. He tried to get up, but then he quickly fell down and was landing right on the center ice logo. He didn't return in the game. We hope he's okay. But that's all we know at the moment. We're waiting for all the post-game comments to come out from Bob Bugner and company. So once we know, we will forward that to you.
Yeah, this was his. The Sharks claimed him off of Vancouver in October, and I don't know if this was his first game with the Sharks, but not a good sight to see for someone who was claimed off Vancouver, and hopefully you get a better start here.
Yeah, I mean, Gadjevich has been here and there throughout the year. So, I was trying to pull it up here on the site here. He's been, it's AON. This is his 13th game with 1 assist. He's had a good scoring touch in the AHL. So, we can only hope for it to come in, but he's got that strong touch, definitely been throwing down the gloves with a number of multiple fighting majors, but we hope he's okay. Again, once we know it, once we know the situation with him, we will let you know as well. But onward to the second period, the goaltenders, Sorokin and Adin Hill, and for he had that one bad one. And, there have been some people who have called him Martin Jones 2.0 or anything. But in some cases, in this case, Jones would let that one goal in early and then shut down. And for Hill,
Yep.
he was shut down on this night.
Yeah, I thought he was good tonight. I will say that the Sharks defense was much better in front of him. In the first period, the Sharks led with 12-9 shots. Like the second period, like the Sharks basically led most of the way. It was 15-8 on shots. So like, not gonna say there wasn't a lot of traffic in front of the net, but like, for the most part, the Sharks controlled the first two periods pretty well. And if they would have just gotten one goal in the second, I don't think this would have gone into overtime.
Yeah, I mean they definitely had their chances, and especially the Islanders would go to the power play a few more times than this one. Did they succeed? Not necessarily, but this team definitely showed some chances. Although I think they're, tell me if I'm wrong, Al. They seem a little more stagnant on the power play as opposed to them kind of moving around a little bit more. That achieved some of their early success when they started 4-0.
I think like the first power play when that Dullin set up Bonino, that was pretty consistent. That was offensive pressure for almost 2 minutes straight. But after that, yeah, it was pretty stagnant. Getting back into old habits of just give it to Brent Burns and hopefully there's a shot to the point.
Or Karlsson, for that matter.
Yeah, same thing. I think the power play has been better, but it's just not been consistent. I would say the most worry thing about it was like the penalty kill, because some nights the Sharks would just let in 2 penalties or two power play goals. And that's a bad trend you just don't want to see.
Yeah. Well, the good thing for the PK didn't get to be used tonight. I mean, kudos to the Sharks. Yeah. No penalties on the play. There might have been 1 or 2 that could have gone the other way. But as the third period went on, Meier took a dangerous hit, from Pelech. Looked knee on knee. You could either call it knee, you could have called it tripping, you could have called it couple of things, but you know what? I just it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what if they were just like, hey, you guys have had 3 power plays, we can't call another one. I mean,
I try not to think about it, but we've seen too many hot mics of NHL refs literally doing that. The classic example of 2 years ago of, hey, I called one for this team, now we're going to call one for that team.
Right.
And you know what highlight I'm talking about, but
oh yeah.
Yeah, not the best sight.
Yeah. So thankfully he kind of walked it off in the hallway, stayed on the bench. He definitely I don't think he missed a shift, honestly, in the third period, but Hill had some chances. There was that one failed poke check, that Ferraro had tried to get at it, and then Barzal comes in and they're like, oh crap, here we go. Barzal, to quote Shirk, could have had Barzal, but Hill with the task and great save. Again, Adin Hill with looking great with 24 saves. Yeah, he let that one in early, but overall a nice one on the night.
Yeah, I mean, to just follow up Ian's point who's in the chat, it's really just been the first period that's really cost Adin Hill. And then, against Washington, there was that easy goal he lets in the first, 30 seconds, and then it's basically over after that. But, even tonight, even the goal was, still pretty decent from an Islanders' point of view, where it was still a shot from the far right side that makes it top left corner. I'm willing to give that, literally to give Adin Hill a break because of the way he performed after that. But by far, the Sharks goaltender situation is still way better than it was last year. So I'm just going to say, don't complain about Adin Hill being the next Spartan Jones because, well, he's not that.
He's not that. Yes, he's had his moments. Let's put that in there. But he's also had strong outcomes afterwards. Like tonight, he played pretty awesome for everything considered to keep this game tight. He got the extra goal support, which, let's be honest, his goal support hasn't exactly been great from the team. But at the same time, give them credit, like we will to Grayson Hendricks for the $4.99 super chat. Grayson, thank you very much. As always, super chats go help support the show, pay the bills of all of that, all the stuff that runs the site and the programs and everything. He says,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say Benito needs a cookie. Dude's been playing pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean he had that nice goal. He finally got off the schneid and kind of been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, getting that first goal and then having the next 3 out of the last 4 you have at least a point in.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're not really counting on him to be a 60-point scorer. He's mostly just a leadership guy at this point of his career, and the Sharks locker room is a lot better, just because he's been there. He's won a Stanley Cup and all that veteran hoo-ah. So, it was a smart pickup from Doug, and yeah, I think pretty good fit on the third line.
Yeah, nice fit, and definitely was key into being that little cog. Even though there was no Cogliano in the lineup tonight, he's taking care of a personal matter. We wish him all the best, of course. And it's tough. Grand is here. Internet dropped at the end of third. Didn't even see what happened, but glad Sharks won. This should have not been down to the wire. So no update, as AJ said, no update right now on Cogs. Hopefully everything is okay. Seems like it's a personal matter than an injury. Skylar with the $5 super chat donation. Skylar, good to see you, bud. Hope you had fun over there. I should have said I would have Venmo you if you could get one of the warm-up pucks if possible. But Sharks won. I was at UBS Arena. Beautiful place and even more beautiful after a win. Let's go Sharks. Good to see you, bud, the other night, and congrats on enjoying a road win. So,
yeah, to follow up your point about Hill and goaltender support, like the last 3 games he's played, it was 4-0 against Washington, 6-2 against Colorado, which is probably one of the worst games the Sharks have played this season. But like the next game after that, it was 4-1 against Calgary, but there's a huge asterisk with that where it was 2-1 for like 89% of that game. So, I don't know if that's on Hill, but because you can maybe control the pace of the game a little bit better, but the goals have just not come as easily for both Reimer and Hill.
Yeah, and it seems like gets a little bit more of a goal support, but the goaltenders have been up to the task. Granted, more so Reimer than Hill, but again, tonight is one of those nights where Hill has been. Good job, AJ. Does UBS stand for Until Barzal Scores? Jeez. Good stuff.
That's a good one.
Yes, I'll give that to you, bud. If you're new here, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell. That'll notify you when we go on the air after every Sharks game. We get to overtime, and this was interesting. The guys were kind of playing around each other, playing and keeping an eye on each other until Couture gives a hit to one of the Islanders players. I forget who it was. I think it was Beauvillier. Frees up the puck. Karlsson and Meier going in for a 2-on-1. Meier, I think, was trying to shoot, but he doesn't shoot a bad shot. He turns around, flips it to the front of the net, where Karlsson's just waiting there, kind of back skating a little bit. He had to stretch a little bit to get that game winner. Karlsson, another goal, two games in a row with Erik, spelled the right way, scoring the game winner.
I mean, there was no hand pass this time, right?
No hand pass this time for the OT winner. That's a good call. Good call.
I mean, honestly, I give Couture a lot of credit. He made the big hit. But I think one of the big storylines this season has really just been Meier either stepping up or just rebounding next year. Because honestly, there's that $10 million qualified contract. That's what, a year from now, 2 years from now. So there's still a lot of discussion about is he worth it, and is the cap hit going to be able to justify it and all that. And I think if he plays at this pace and continues to show improvement, then yeah, I'm definitely happy about Meier. But I had pretty low expectations going in, and I'm really been impressed with him all season.
Yeah, all season he's been terrific. He's the only Shark in double digits right now, but he's had a multi-point streak now. I mean, he scored 2 goals in Chicago. He scored 2 against New Jersey. He got 2 assists tonight on this road trip. So Meier is definitely looking solid here for sure. Grand is year 12. No penalty box time tonight. Yes. That's the one part they probably looked at Zach Croft's video and like, okay, Zach said to stay out of the penalty box. We got to stay out of the penalty box, right? So, Anthony Morris, Karlsson, Middleton is the Sharks' best D pair, and it's not even close. Defensively,
no, that's wrong.
What's that?
That's wrong. I mean, I like that pairing, and it worked out pretty well this season, but you can't understate how important Ferraro and Burns have been. Like, especially Ferraro. Like, he plays, 22 minutes a night, and Burns still plays his enormous 29 minutes. Like, I don't know how he's doing it and how he's conditioning for it, but that's the most important Sharks pairing. If one of those two go down, it's a full line blender.
Right. It's going to be interesting what happens here. You know, Hitaka went back to the Barracuda. Milosh got the call up for now. You wonder when Knizhov starts skating again, when he might get inserted to the lineup. So, so we'll see what happens here with the pairings. But I mean, Middleton and Karlsson have been excellent. Burns and Ferraro have been playing well. Looking at the time on ice sheets totals for tonight, each of them played over 22 minutes. Burns only 23:50. So but then you look at that. He's been fairly decent defensively. However, in looking at my stats now, I think he is, no points in his last 10 games now. So whoever guys came off of COVID, he hasn't been offensively playing or getting credit for the offensive play. But he hasn't had too many bad plays, or I definitely seen any defensive starfish postures lately either.
I mean, I was calling for, just before the break and before the COVID hit, he was still playing 33 minutes. He was one of the best skaters during that COVID stretch. And some of that was, you had, the coaching staff had to play him that much. But I was kind of hey, maybe this is not the time to wear out your best defenseman. Yes, he is still. Yes, he is the best defenseman. That's not even in my book. He is, but it's December. We're not playing for playoff hockey yet. You can play him 40 minutes a night when we start to get to April or May.
We'll see what happens on that one. You don't want to overdo the Burnsy or the Karlsson, for that matter, Middleton or Ferraro. You're going to need these guys if you're going to make a push for the playoffs. You're going to need these guys down the road, and be at your best. So glad that their minutes, we're not trending to they're playing 30 minutes. type of night.
Yeah.
So, with that, let's go to the comments in the locker room. Adin Hill saying we want not stay around 500 every point is huge, and we need to keep it on a roll. Yeah, absolutely. Bugner was mentioning the players have bought in and have had success. We have to grind teams down to win. We don't have McDavid and Draisaitl. Well, yeah, we wish.
Okay, well,
I know
you don't have two Hart nominees. Okay, well, cool.
we have to manage the puck and manage leads. Sure, I think so. But I mean, okay,
Hockey cliche 101.
Sure, but I mean, you do have some good talent over there that can do something. Meier has been on the roll. However, Hurdle has 1 goal, 1 assist in his last 7 games. Couture, while he's had 5 in his last 4 games going into tonight, he's got 1 goal in his last 8 games. So yes, they've been winning. Yes, they have been playing defensively sound. However, you also are going to need the goals coming from your big guys. And not to, steal a line from Ted Raimi, but your best players need to be your best players. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm like, I don't have much to add there. You need your best players to step up. I'm like, yeah, that's yeah.
I made him speechless, folks. All right. From Adin Hill, not a lot of their shots that came in from the blue line got to the net. We're playing those tight defensive games. Guys did a great job. I think Mario Ferraro has been the league leader in blocked shots, and the poor guy is probably going to be bruising until he shoots his next youngest of plugs video at this point. I mean, my gosh. The guys are buying into the block shots. I know some people like Drew or Menda have said, yeah, I don't like blocking shots. However, like they said on the pregame, the alumni's like, yeah, we like the block shots. You like to get in the way.
I'm okay with block shots. I'm more focused on shutting down, golden opportunities for a team. Like, when those plays are going to pop up. If you can just shift the line pairings or just slow down the game a bit, slow down the pace. That's more of the defensive side of things. And my issue last year was just, I think some of this was on Martin Jones. Like, he would just not control the pace of the game too much. And honestly, like, there was a lot of issues with the defense. Like, Erik Karlsson had one of his worst years, and we expected a lot from him last year. But just if you're a veteran on this team last year, you were really looking at this as a bounce back year. Like, I know it's a very, very long shot, but like, theoretically have had Couture on Team Canada, but that's like, he's not even going to be like in the top 20. So like, there was a lot at stake for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. No, I get you. It's almost like Canada can supply 2 teams and take them to the Olympics if they really wanted to, with the guys that they have loaded up on there. But Benito, after the game, said, I think I said thank you to everyone involved in that goal about 3 or 4 times. Getting that goal gives you some confidence and allows you to focus on your game. And that's the thing, too, is that he's getting the goals. He's getting, he's getting his groove back, Like I said, he can do all the other little things, but he's been producing, over the last week and a half.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about from the game? We already talked about Benino. We already talked about BOT. Do you want to jump into the other games?
Sure. Might as well. So the Sharks win 2-1. They are now 13-9-1 on the campaign. They're at 27 points. Currently sit in the number 1 wildcard position. They're 2 points out of third place Anaheim, and if you want to get a little crazy, 5 points from first place Edmonton, who does have 2 games in hand. However, behind the Sharks, you have Nashville at 25, Dallas, Vegas, and Winnipeg at 24. So it's kind of tight in the division. Didn't expect it to be this tight early on, but this is kind of what I expected this team to be, is to be contending in the playoff spot.
I don't know. Like, we talked about, or we previously talked about the Islanders' COVID stretch. Like, you could have seen a disaster of, a bad start, then you get COVID, and you're in the position of the Islanders, who really did have a lot of playoff aspirations going in. And, no one had the Sharks. Like, all the big time names didn't have the Sharks at this point of the season. So we're really just playing with house money at this point, which, William Eklund was pretty good for the first 9 games and before he got sent back. But there's a lot of positives with this team. And I'm sure we'll get into the other things, but it's a shame that some of the other things that distracted kind of just dragged down some of the accomplishments this team has made this so far.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Gosh.
We're trying not to make him into Voldemort, but we kind of are.
Well, let's just do it right now before we get to the other games. We love talking about hockey. We love talking about the Sharks. We're passionate about the Sharks. This is why we do this thing. Why we do, Pucknologists every weekend. Every Sunday night. Why we do Teal Tinted Glasses over the summer. Why we cover the Sharks as much as we possibly can. This is a passion project, and we are passionate about this team. We will follow and, give the love to this team whenever possible. We will be critical about this team. Some people might say, others might be Pollyanna, but we'll tell it like it is.
Yeah.
We'll tell it like it is. But here's, with the whole thing with Evander Kane, you see the little bits and pieces of him practicing with the Barracuda. He's not going to play in this weekend's games for the Cuda. He might be back. He might be ready to go next week at the earliest. Of course, we know what happened last night with what his estranged wife posted, including that graphic video.
Yeah, the video's online. It's there if you want to see it. Honestly, my focus right now, and we can talk about everything that's gone on with Evander and the messy divorce that's currently going on in Discord. But my focus, to back up a little bit, I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday, Elliot Freeman publishes an article, and he has a great podcast called 32 Thoughts. Yeah. 32 Thoughts about, the teams that basically Evander Kane wants to be traded to. And the teams that he allowed to be traded to are Winnipeg, Buffalo, and Tampa Bay. He's really just narrowing his list just to one team because Buffalo's not going to trade for him. Winnipeg is no way going to trade for him at all.
And he supposedly have Winnipeg as one of those 3.
Yes. And we know about, Tampa Bay's cap scenario. Maybe there's a shot in the dark, but there's no way they're going to want someone like that into the locker room, especially when you already won 2 Stanley Cups back to back. What are you doing? So, because AHL players don't have to pay into escrow, my thinking is that he's positioning himself as someone that's untradeable, and the Sharks will have to either leave him in AHL or bring him up to NHL if they really, really want his talent. But I feel like there's so many notes. I'm there's so many side stories with this Evander Kane thing because like we know about his bankruptcy hearings, we know about all that. However, was it proven it was a photo shoot? We're not even going to talk about that. I don't. It's not even important. Like the whole Photoshop thing, I'm not even going to touch because it's there in the public, but I don't think it's important to what's currently going on with the Sharks because, like, I think for the most part, he wants to stay in the AHL to get out of bankruptcy, to pay his debts, and that's what he's positioned himself to be. Um, hopefully down the road he becomes a better person down the line, but like he's burned too many bridges with me in particular, and like how many shots are you gonna give this guy? Like how many?
Yeah.
Like I'm at this point where I'm like, nope, do not want you anywhere near a stable team right now compared to last year. No. And I really hope he doesn't taint any of the younger prospects in the Barracuda system because, there's some decent, talent in the AHL right now. So that's my big worry with the whole Evander Kane scenario. And I'm sure we're going to hear more, and I'm sure it's going to get messier because this divorce has been way out in the public than we've ever seen it. And also, this has probably been the worst offer for any Sharks player. I dare you to name me one that's worse.
Yeah,
dare me.
Nothing has come close to this with the Sharks. Mark Bell had that one.
Brody
had that one in 2006, but I mean that was it for what has publicly come out.
Yeah,
we should say. Go ahead, finish up if you want.
I got like my only real final thought is that this is the guy that Doug really did choose over Pavelski, and that's the thing that bothers me the most. And it's like the polar opposite of what a Sharks athlete that we've known for 20 years to be. And it's infuriating that this is the guy. And I'll just leave it at that.
Whatever's going on, we just hope for the sake of Kensington that there's help coming for them. But as for the AHL, let's see what happens. This is probably the biggest headache that the Sharks have ever dealt with, and we'll see what happens.
To follow up one point I made about AHL players not paying to escrow, Ian, of course, he knows way more about AHL than I ever do, but two-way deals you pay in the AHL don't pay, but of course Evander Kane has a $8 million 7-year or a long ass contract for in the AHL. So let's put it that way.
Long ass, yes. All right. With that, let's get to some of the scores happening around the NHL this evening. Bruins shut out the Predators 2-0. I think the Predators were just stunned by what their Stadium Series jerseys were going to look like, and just like gasping for air, like, and they showed up with the same score. Jake DeBrusk, who is in trade rumors around, gets the game winner for that one. The Stars are up 3-2 on the easy for me to say Columbus Blue Jackets late in the third period. This is where we give the love and appreciation to Joe Pavelski. I know he's like the team leader in points.
Okay. This is not alcohol, by the way.
We haven't gotten to Desert Dogs yet.
Okay.
Pavelski with a pair of assists with Jason Robertson's 2 goals. Moving onward, scores that are in progress. Kings are up 1-0. Iafallo with the goal. They're early on in the game there. The former Quebec Nordique, Colorado Avalanche, win 4-1 over the Montreal Canadiens. Kale McCarr, Burakovsky, Landeskog, and Kushkin with the goals there. Tampa loved what their Stadium Series looked like, so they won 4-2 over the St. Louis Blues. Victor Hedman gets a pair of goals in this one. The Panthers win 7-4 in a crazy comeback over the Buffalo Sabres in that one. Lindell with a pair, Ekblad with a pair. With that, in a shootout, the Chicago Blackhawks win 4-3 over the Washington Capitals. Blackhawks, screw you for trying to file a motion on trying to throw out the Kyle Beach case. You can go fuck yourselves on that one.
Okay.
Josh Norris with the game-winning goal as the Senators take down the Hurricanes 3-2. The night after they got trounced by Vancouver 6-2. So that's a big one on there. And the Sharks beat the Islanders 2-1. Wild beat the Devils 5-2 as Kaprizov gets a pair of goals for the Minnesota Wild. So that's what you have coming up. What's coming up for the Sharks is Friday at MSG taking on the Rangers, a Rangers squad that that was expected to do a lot of things. They have Gerard Gallant. This will be a very interesting game as he takes on the Sharks the first time since he took over the bench in Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, the Rangers have a ton of talent. It was kind of interesting that they shook up most of their front office right before the playoffs. I don't know if they're trying to quickly become a playoff contender, but I just don't think they're quite there yet. But, Panarin is still one of the best forwards in the game. I think their goaltender situation is still not quite the best, but yeah.
We'll see. Georgiev and Shesterkin has been pretty good. I'm stunned how they were able to keep both of them after the expansion draft. I thought one of them might have been going to the Kraken. But 14-4-3. They've had it pretty good. Panarin has not thrown another glove at an opponent since last Friday, which is good. Although Marchand is such a little weasel for freaking sakes,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't blame Panarin for even doing that. I got a pretty good chuckle on Twitter about that.
Right. So that's that's the Sharks' next opponent. So we'll be back with you tomorrow, Friday. Following
tomorrow.
Al Martin, the musical, coming soon to Teal Town USA's YouTube channel.
No.
Darn it. All right. Well, in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. We really do appreciate that. SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio are always available at tealtownusa.com. So that's pretty much it for our night. Again, we'll be back tomorrow.
I'll be back tomorrow, people. I will be back.
Oh boy, be prepared, people.
I'm sure there's more Kane news, knowing how things are going.
Let's hope not. For the dear God, with all the rough news the NHL's had 2 months into the season, one day off would be nice to not recap the happenings of such.
Usually when you say it can't get worse, it usually
Shut
gets
up,
worse.
Al. Shut up, Al. So do yourself a favor if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button down below. Like this video. If you're watching the replay, hit a comment on it about what you thought about tonight's game, the whole Kane situation, or anything you'd like to talk about hockey-wise. We'd love to have your comments. It helps the algorithm in return for us. And, of course, hit that notification bell. That notifies you when we go live, because these games not completely planned. We don't know when it goes into overtime or a 15-round shootout of any kind, for that matter. So, final thoughts, Al, before we get out of here?
Sharks have won 5 out of the last 6. Pretty good start. I mean, when they lost against Toronto, I pretty much looked at this little stretch of games that they could have bounced back and get back in the standings, and they did. Pretty good start from Bob Bluntner, who I've had a lot of questions about, but, pretty solid win tonight, and let's keep the stretch going on tomorrow.
All right. He's at Al Martinet. I'm at Puckeye14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. My final thoughts, just keep going, Sharks. Keep it rolling. You've been playing fairly well over this whole entire road trip. Timo, keep it going. Hope to get you and Reimer into the All-Star game in Las Vegas. Hopefully that's going to be a chance come February.
If that's still a thing.
If that's still a thing because of COVID. So until Friday night following Sharks and Rangers, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you Friday night after Sharks and Rangers.